I have been blessed. You know, when I was listening to that song, and it starts with the children and the relationship and the marriage and all the things in your life that you're blessed for. So I want to ask you to just make a list. I have been blessed by ... What comes up for you? I mean, there's so much to be grateful for, so much that we are blessed by every single day. And being blessed by something kind of feels like we mean that out there is blessing us here. That something comes at us and blesses us. But that's not really the case. That's not how it works. Something blesses you because it taps into that within you that is blessed. Blessed and blessed, I believe, are spelled the same way. Please tell me I'm right. Or else I'm done. No. Think about that. That thing that in you is blessed is touched by that which blesses you. Where we are in this journey called life and spiritual living is finding our way to understanding that we are indeed blessed by everything, even when we don't notice it, or even when we think it's anything but a blessing. Anybody have any of those things? Or those people? Just because a handful came to mind doesn't mean I'm not spiritual. One of my favorite songs is Count Your Blessings. And we sing it every Christmas. And I just love it. And I love more than anything else to hear it sung by the man who sings it better than anybody on the earth. And that's my husband. It's true. He never gets the lyrics right, but he sings it so beautifully. That's actually not true. It's just that when we sing it, we've learned it differently and we sing different lyrics and we always think we're right. So count your blessings. Here's the thing about counting your blessings. When you take the time to count your blessings, you expand your heart. I defy you to count your blessings, to really pay attention to what you are blessed by and not feel your heart expand. I mean, sitting there, I'm still on the verge of tears just listening to all those people singing, I have been blessed. That awareness, what would the world be like if the entire universe, the whole universe, felt I have been blessed instead of I've been cheated or I have been wronged? Yeah. What if we all just felt I am blessed? Just think what that would do. Just think what that would do. Just think what that would do. Your heart would explode. Your heart would just expand. It might even explode in a good way. It reminds me of a quote, one of my favorite quotes of Ernest Holmes, and it's this: love leads the way. Law makes the way possible. Love leads the way. Law makes the way possible. So I have a little story for you. My son told me this joke. It seems to be a day of jokes. He told me that a little boy was in his Sunday Bible study, and the preacher came up to him and said, Johnny, his name was Johnny. He said, Johnny, I'm going to ask you a question. Jesus died on the cross. And Johnny said, yes. He said, after Jesus died on the cross, they took him down and they put him in the tomb, and they rolled the rock in front of it. And Johnny said, yes. He said, and then the next day they came and they moved the rock and Jesus was gone. And Johnny said, yes. He said, and then all the disciples and Mary Magdalene and Mary, Jesus' mother, they all came together in this little room to talk about what had happened and to wait for some sign. And little Johnny said, yes. He said, and then Jesus appeared to them in this room. And Johnny said, yes. And he said, Johnny, what did Jesus say when he reappeared to the apostles after his resurrection? And Johnny thought, and he went, ta-da! Now I know that's a sweet little joke, but it has a very strong message today. The title of my talk is To Do, Not Ta-da. Now think about this. Religion, God, spirituality, self-help, so much of what we do, so much of what is perceived as religion or God or self-help or philosophy ends up being some magic game of ta-da. And so many people are still caught in this game of thinking that something out there is going to save me. Something out there, some book, some course, some workshop, some church, some minister, some speaker, whoever. That person is the key. That person is going to save me. Save me. We're still waiting for the great magician to do something for us or to us. And that's not the way it works. It's not ta-da. It's to do. It is ours to do the work. It's not magic. It is a science. This is called the science of mind. It's not called the magic of the mind. Although I think some people approach it that way. And when I say some people, I mean all of us, including myself, that there's still a little part that falls into that magic place. Affirmations, all the different ways we conjure up power or think power exists somewhere other than where it absolutely exists, and that is right here. So it's not ta-da, it's to do. And it's not magic, it's a science. Better yet, it's the truth. When Ernest Holmes says, love leads the way, law makes the way possible, he reminds us that it's what we do with the love by way of the law that changes our lives. James says in the New Testament, be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. Every week we hear what we hear. But the only thing that matters is what we do with what we hear. How we interpret it. How we move it through and as our own lives. Ernest Holmes went on to say, what we know, we can do. Now just think about that for a minute. What we know, we can do. What we cannot do, we only suppose. We only think we know. So what do you know? What do you absolutely know? What do you know so perfectly with such self-assurance that no one or no thing, no situation, no condition, no person can pull you off of it? What do you know? Because what you know, you can do. But when you can't do something, it's because you're only supposing it, or because you somehow have confused the message. He goes on to say, a silent conviction is worth more than the loudest proclamation from the housetops of those who shout affirmations to the great nowhere. Let me read that again. A silent conviction, and that means in the deepest part of your soul, what you absolutely believe, unquestionably, is worth more than the loudest proclamation from the housetops of those who shout affirmations to the great nowhere. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today. When we shout these affirmations and we say what we say we believe, we are putting it nowhere. It's not going anywhere, because the only thing that goes anywhere is what you absolutely know. So today's a great day to ask yourself, what do you know? Affirmations aren't magic. There is no power in the words we use. There is no power in the word. The word really means the power back of any thought or idea or desire you have. So affirmations aren't magic. It's a to-do, not a ta-da. What we know, we can do. What we do with our thoughts determines what we do with our lives. It is that simple. It is absolutely that simple. It's ours to do. So we got to ask yourselves, and I loved what Jamie said today. I loved his whole presentation. But I ask you, what is yours to do in life? When you hear that quote, that Marianne Williamson quote that says, we are here to be gorgeous and brilliant and talented and successful and prosperous. We are here to be all of that. Is that yours to do? Do you recognize that it's yours to do? And there's no ta-da coming along to make it happen for you. Your job is to recognize that it's yours to live in, to actually activate and do for yourself. It's that simple. There's no magic involved in our lives. There's no luck involved in our lives. There is no luck, good or bad. There's just the absolute perfect consequence of thinking. That's it. So you don't fall into luck or out of luck. It's funny, we were halfway here this morning, and I said something, and then I realized I'd left my talk on my dining room table. And usually I could just say, oh, well, I'll just go in and I know what I'm going to talk about. But I had so many quotes here, and I have something I would want to read from the Buddha. And I said, we're going to have to go back. And Mellon and Nora were just like, wow, this is a first. And I felt their judgment. And so I drove home. And as we're coming back, I said, here's my take on this. I said, what I know is that the very moment I needed to get off the freeway and go home, it meant that that patch of the freeway was not mine to travel at that time. I said, I don't know what's going to happen on that freeway at all. And I know what I know is my life is always, always blessed, and I'm always doing exactly what I need to be doing and in the right place at the right time. And so I thought they're buying it, or they weren't even paying attention to me, I don't know. But there was nothing, and then all of a sudden Will said, here's what I know. He said, a homeless person is going to come up to me today and give me $1 million. And I was like, really? I said, first of all, a homeless person is coming up to you to give you $1 million. I said, if that homeless person had $1 million, what was he holding it on to? Or what was he or she, why were they holding on to it? Just waiting to give it to you for $1 million? And he just went, that's what I know. Now, frankly, I'm hoping he proves me wrong today. I really am, because of course, half of it will be mine. But I had to think in that moment. I went, okay, this is my opportunity to teach him. It's not about magical moments like that. It's not about thinking, here's what's going to happen. It's not, unless you actually believe it. And so I let a little time pass. And as we drove a little further, I said, hey, Will, let me ask you a question. Do you really believe someone's going to come up and hand you that $1 million? And he went, no, Dad, no. I said, you know what's really funny about that is, if you really believed it, it would happen. And he said, seriously? I said, yes. I said, you know, that's what we teach. He said, really? Is that real? Would that really be true? If I really believed that, I could make, now listen to this, I could make a homeless person give me $1 million. I said, no. You couldn't make anyone do anything. You couldn't make anything specifically happen. But if you had the consciousness of that type of prosperity, it couldn't help but show up. And he says, without missing a beat, he says, then I'm going to work on knowing that. And I said, me too. I'm going to know that too. In fact, I'm going to start working out at homeless shelters, just in case. And we laughed, but do you get what's there to know? We start with an idea that seems silly, that we don't really believe. It's like a ta-da moment. It's a magic moment. Here's what I know. I know that by the end of this year, I am going to be a gazillionaire. But what do you believe? What's driving that train? Because sometimes what's driving that train is going to keep it from ever leaving the station. And our truth is, let's find out what we really believe. If you want your life to change, you have to do something about it, as Reverend Jamie said. There's really no risk in life involved at all with our lives, other than the risk of misusing our minds. I have nothing to risk. I have nothing to worry about in this world. The only risk I will ever take is when I choose, and I mean choose, to misuse my mind. So, I went to get a haircut yesterday. And, do you like it? It's kind of short, but I went to get a haircut, and I said to the guy, and it's a wonderful man, this is the second time I've gone to get his haircut, and Kristen cuts my hair, but this is a guy that trims my hair in between. So I went in and I said, just a little trim, I'm getting on a cruise, I don't want to ruin the look. He said, okay. I said, but you know what, could you do something that makes it just look a little more contemporary? I said, because my kids keep telling me I look old. And he said, oh, you don't look old. And I said, of course. And I said, but you know what? He says, well, what do you want me to do? How much do you want me to cut? I said, you know what? I'm going to leave it up to you. Oh, my God. I said, I'm going to leave it up to you. I heard it reverberate in my head. I am leaving it up to you. And he did what he did last time, which is turn my back to the mirror so I can't see what he's doing, and started to cut. And the first cut was this shaver, and I saw this big thing of hair go. And I was like, my life is unfolding perfectly. My life is unfolding perfectly. And it did, and I love what he did, and I'll like it even better in a couple weeks when it grows a little. But I really do. I like what he did. But here's what happened yesterday, and this was really quite a moment. And I already knew what I was talking about. I already knew I wanted to come in and talk about the magic of this, that it doesn't exist. And we really have a chance here today to get rid of the magic element in our mind and start hunkering down and, like my son, start creating what it is we want, start being equal to what it is we wish to live. And he said to me, and he knows I'm a minister, and he's a great, very spiritual man. He's only 27 years old, but I love hearing him talk. And he said to me, he said, what did you learn this week? I'm like, I'm getting my hair cut. Actually, I'm getting my hair killed. And he asked me, what do I learn this week? What did I learn this week? But the question really took me by surprise. So I'm going to take you by surprise with that. What did you learn this week? What happened this week that caused you to learn? What did you learn this week? And I was like, oh my God, what did I learn this week? And he said, it's a tough question, isn't it? I went, I can't believe it. You have actually stopped me from speaking, which is really difficult. I said, but yes, what have I learned this week? So I went through my week and I started to think about my week, and I was like, this week has been one of the craziest weeks of my life. Things have happened this week that are just so bizarre, jaw-droppingly crazy, things that were going on behind the scenes of things that I didn't know a thing about. And when they came to light, I was like, what? Really? The finances of this center, as many of you got the email we sent out yesterday, I was really surprised when I saw it. Scared, afraid, frightened, worried, not any of it. Just like, what? Really? So I handled it and did what I did. But still, it was something I'd never seen before. And then my daughter had her first, all you parents out there will understand this. There comes that day when your child gets a life lesson that you can't do a thing about. Something happened in her life that she was disappointed over that was just the way it was going to be. Something she had counted on, it didn't happen. And when it came up, it was me who found it because she was waiting for the answer, and they were in the pool and having fun, and I was on the internet. I said, it's not there yet, what she was looking for, the answer to something she wanted to get into. I'm like, it's not there yet, it's not there. I said, just play, it'll come in when it comes in. And then it popped up that she didn't get it. And I'm sitting there, and I turned to Kevin, and I said, she didn't get it. She didn't get what she wanted. She got something, she didn't get what she wanted. And we're just sitting, imagine, we're sitting there like sick to our stomach. And they're in the pool playing, going, did it come in yet? And I'm lying, nope, not here. Until she looked at me and she went, Dad, I think it did come in because your face is different. So I got in the pool, and I said, okay, here's what happened. And of course, the real issue was, of course, that Will and Nora were both waiting to hear if they'd gotten in, and Will did. And I said, one of you did and one of you didn't. And Will instantly went, that's okay, I didn't really want it. He said, I knew Nora would get it. I just did it because I want, I'm happy with whatever happens. And Nora's like, that's great, Will. And I said, well, it was the other way around. Will, you got in. Nora, you got into something else. And there was this moment, and she went, Will, I am so happy for you. And she hugged him. But I knew what she was really feeling, and we talked about it all week. But you know that thing inside of you as a parent, and forget even if you're not a parent, for yourself, when something happens in your life that you cannot change in that moment, you can only change your relationship to it. And I was having the biggest struggle I've had. I can change my relationship to what's going on in my life. But when I had to change my relationship to what was going on in my daughter's life, I was like, all right, God, this is the time. This is the time to show up and show me. And I had to do what all great religious scientists must do at all times. Go back to principle. So when he asked me, what did I learn this week, I suddenly got it. This is a crazy week I just went through. What did I learn this week? What I learned this week is to always stand on principle no matter what. No matter what is going on in my life, I must stand on principle. And what is principle? Love leads the way, and law makes it possible. And when I say law makes it possible, what does that mean? That means that I must use my mind to create what it is that I want. Every situation has a solution. Every single situation has a solution because it's all cause that creates it. So I want to read you something from the Buddha. And it's from the Dhammapada, which is sayings of the Buddha, and it's this. The thought manifests as word. Actually, take a deep breath for me. And set your mind on that place where it says, intention, attention. This is what I need to hear. The thought manifests as word. The word manifests as the deed. The deed develops into habit, and the habit hardens into character. So watch the thought and its way with care, and let it spring from love, born out of concerns for all beings. As the shadow follows the body, as we think, so we become. As the shadow follows the body, as we think, so we become. It is not magic, but your logical thoughts that become your life's journey. It says, so watch the thought and its way with care. Your thoughts right now are having their way with you. Think about that. Your thoughts right now have a way with them, an energy to them that will have their way with you and cause your life to express perfectly based on what you're thinking. Now, the truth is you're thinking what you're thinking because of what you believe. So it's always a backup. We must always back ourselves up to that place of, what do I believe because why do I think the way I think? And another joke. When I was a child, my mother asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I said, a magician. She said, you can't do both. I'm going to wait for you all to get it. When I read that, I thought, what a great wrap-up. What a great aha for us, finally, at the end of this talk. It's not ta-da, it's to-do. You can't, as the joke says, we need to step into spiritual maturity. We can't be spiritually mature and believe in magic at the same time. Spiritual maturity requires you and I to absolutely know, without a shadow of a doubt, that every single condition in our life is there because we put it there. Or it's there because we attracted it to us. It's there because we are equal to it in our minds. Every single thing. Do you know that every single thing that's going on in your life right now, anybody have any conditions going on in their life right now? Raise your hand if you have a condition. Any condition whatsoever. Okay, all of those conditions, everything that's going on in everybody's life right now has a solution. Do you know that? Yes. And the rest of you? Do you all know that every situation you have has a solution? Yes. Okay. What? What did you say? It's my cousins? No, it comes. Oh, every single condition comes with a solution, as Rita said. Here's why every situation has a solution. Every situation has a solution because every situation was caused by mind. The only way that we can honestly believe that every situation has a solution is by believing that every situation was caused right here. That allows me to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that every solution is happening right here. It's my perspective. It's what I know. It's what I absolutely know. So when I say what I learned this week is, I will always stay on principle no matter what. No matter what anyone says, does, thinks, no matter what situation shows up, my job is to stay on principle. And principle tells me that I am equal to what Jamie Klein read from Marianne Williamson. I am equal to being the gorgeous, brilliant, talented, creative, successful, prosperous, awesome person that I am. I am equal to that. And no condition outside of me is going to tell me different. So what condition are you letting tell you you are not that? There's no such thing. That condition doesn't really even exist. That's the magic part. That's the ta-da part. It's trying to make you believe that this is what you are. This is not what you are. This is what you created. How's that for fun? This is what you created. Now, you want something better? Yes or no? Yes. You want something better? Yes. Your job is to create something better. Your job is to do, not ta-da. Do you get it? Yes. Did I make my point today? Yes. Namaste.